Om Neelambuja Shyamal Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panavu Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side. He is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Shri Ramcharitmanas, we are entering into this next section called Ayodhya Kanda. Also is known as Dvitiya Sopan, second step, the 7 steps. And it is most important of all sections. We gave the meaning of the Sloka, but to reiterate it, because these are all prayers that can be repeated again and again. So this is how Ayodhya Kanda begins. Yasyanke cha vibhati bhudhara suta deva paga mastake bhale balavidu gale cha garalam yasyo rasi vyalarat soyam bhuti vibhushana suravara sarvadhipa sarvada sharva sarvagatah shiva shashinibha Shri Shankara patumam. May that Lord Shiva, Shankara, Shamkara, one whose actions, whatever he does, is auspicious. It's important always to understand from an advanced point of view, any deity being worshipped is same as the absolute being worshipped. Because all deities, Shiva, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, each one, they are different poses of the same. At that point I have explained that before. And it is majority of people, devotees, stay confined to the distinctions. If Shiva mantra was going on, Om Namah Shivaya, suddenly your mood says, no, Ram, Ram, Ram. The question starts, have I made some error? Have I disrespected Shiva? But that aspect has to be overcome. Because whether you say, if you are repeating Shiva mantra and suddenly you start repeating Ram mantra, Shiva is very pleased. Shiva is a devotee of Rama. Other way around, while repeating Ram mantra, suddenly it started doing Shiva mantra. Rama is exceedingly pleased. This point is brought out in Tulsidas in a very clever way, that Rama is the worshipper of Shiva, and Shiva is the worshipper of Rama. So you can't go wrong. The meaning of this is that Lord Shiva, and each deity is Brahman, the absolute. So when you start describing the glory of the deity, it's always the absolute self. Absolute self, but all these deities are different aspects. Mind needs different aspects without going to details in that direction, let me go on with the subject. May that Shiva, the snowy white complexion, snowy white is absolute purity. And his complexion shines like the moon, symbolizing bliss. With the embodiment of Kalyan, Kalyan means translated auspicious, not suspicious, auspicious. Another term for Kalyan is Mangalam. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. Shiva is described as absolute truth. Shivam. She term relates to absolute joy, absolute goodness. And Va term relates to the heart, expansion. In other ways, all these divine attributes can be meditated upon. So that's Shiva, also known as Shankara. Kara, the doer. Sham, one who is promoting, leading everyone to highest goodness, to the highest goal, which is the absolute, supreme joy. In his arms, there is Devi Parvati, the daughter of the Himalaya. On his matted locks, there is Gangaji. All these have mystical meanings. Ganga is the stream of wisdom. Wisdom that removes all impurities. Ganga is a purifier. And what purifies? Jnana. When you attain Tattva Jnana, the knowledge of the self, all impurities move away. Just like with the rising sun, all darkness begins to fly away. And on his forehead, there is that crescent moon that has just begun to wax. But in Shiva, it doesn't wax anymore, just stays there, implying mind is absolutely under control. Shiva is the Lord of the mind. Mind controls all souls. Maneva Manushyanam. Any soul evolving is in the realm, all evolution and devolution both relate to mind. And whenever we talk about jiva or soul, it's just like when you talk about reflected sun, same sun reflecting in a jar of water. Now that reflected sun is like the jiva, the individual soul. Water is the mind. All reflections will be possible only where there is water. So all souls that evolve. They evolve through the mind. And apart from mind, there is nothing else in the world. Everything else is mental projections. That's why yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Mind is the cause of bondage and release. Unmind yourself and you are Brahman. Mind yourself and go on minding. Go on minding. And Shiva drank that terrible poison, the poison of misery, pain, death, mortality. All that poison, Shiva drank it. Allegorically, you can say, all the horrors that you experienced during the night, the sun god sipped it. And his chest is adorned by Kundalini Shakti, the cosmic energy that is portrayed as a mystical Kundalini, mystical snake. Those who study Kundalini Yoga, that snake has 3 coils and half, 3.5. 3 coils refer to 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and half becomes transcendental. That cosmic energy is described as snake. In fact, all the mind and the thought waves, this is the allegorical way of describing the mind. Mind is not ordinary snake, snakes that have many hoods. They have become partly extinct in this world, but there used to be. So all that you know, consider your mind like that big snake, mystic snake. All thoughts are the different hoods of that mind. So it's a big snake with countless hoods. They are vrittis, thought waves. And that's the description of the entire universe. The entire universe, we put our hands like that, become very surprised. But they are the magic of mental function. Through your mind only you are describing the cosmic mind. Think of the glory of your computer. How Google can bring about so many things. So if you think of Google as a snake, all those things are the hoods. Googling up. And he shines besmeared with pus, ashes. We explained to you, ashes here again is all the illusions of the world burnt up. There is no ash, nothing left. But it is a mystical description. An aspirant puts ashes to adore Shiva. But that's the kindergarten type of of impression given to the mind of the aspirant, that remember the ashes and remember the glory of the ashes. And you go on putting it on your forehead day by day. But as you advance, you begin to understand that it means turning all illusions into nothing. When the light, think of darkness creating countless creatures of darkness, night rangers. I'm not talking about the darkness itself ranges. But when sunlight kills them, where is the ashes? There are no ashes. That's the mystic bhasma, mystic ashes. Lord of all. And He is the destroyer. Shiva is the destroyer. But what can He destroy? He destroys all sins, all kleshas, afflictions, all that is in the realm of darkness. May that Lord Shiva protect us. Next verse. Prasannatam yana gatabhishekatah tathanamamle banavasa dukatah mukhambuja shri raghunandanasya me sadastu samanjula mangala prada. May that face of Rama be the giver of auspiciousness to me. Me term applies to anybody. What type of face? The face that didn't shine in an exaggerated way, the face that remained calm when Rama heard about his being coronated, being declared to be the heir apparent to the throne. It's a big news. But Rama listens to that and stays absolutely calm. So that face that didn't become excited when he heard that kingdom is going to be given to him, and the very same face next day told, O Rama, you are banished to the forest for 14 years. And his face didn't lose its luster, continued to shine. May that face bring to us new shoots of auspiciousness day by day. It's very profound philosophy, is given in a very poetic way. Philosophy is, if you develop devotion to God, if Rama begins to shine in your heart, You will enjoy serenity. Human mind is always ready to react. Pleasure and pain, gain and loss, all this goes on. The world is kind of a big TV show. Always some news is breaking. But when serenity has developed, then every breaking event is auspicious for you. Whatever happens in your life, if you have developed that type of devotion in your heart, first point, you don't expect negative things to happen. You do everything possible to correct, cure, prevent negativity. This practical reality should not be overstepped. But while doing that, there will be always situations that will be beyond your expectations, negative or positive. Both types suddenly come up, prosperity or adversity. If there is serenity, you view prosperity as your opportunity. Opportunity for intensifying your sadhana, for making a great progress. And when adversity comes, do not let your mind develop just to worry, anxiety, grief. So whatsoever energy you have that you could have used to better your life, that energy is being cut down by your irrational grieving. Irrational, I'm talking from advanced point of view. When your mind has developed serenity and love of God, when you begin to view the world, God's plan, and view your own personality being led by God, then you must realize that sometimes adversity will give you something that you never imagined, something so positive that for whole life you will sing about that adversity. Anyone comes to meet you, start talking about it. How everything was shaking and you were on the roof. And then suddenly something broke off and you fell. And you knew that was the end. But then you fell into a cartload of beautiful flowers. You used to have a headache. Headache is gone because of the herbal. What is adversity becomes a source of your spiritual progress in a profound way. So neither adversity nor prosperity distracts you from a spiritual goal. Both begin to move you towards the goal. That's the ideal. That has to be always brought into your mind. And the third one is what I recite in the beginning. Nilambuja shyamalakomalangam sita samaropita vama bhagam Panau mahasayaka charu chapam namami ramam raghuvanshanatham. Adoration's Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus. Blue lotus is like the sky. Blue lotus symbolizes Akasha, Chidakash. Akasha means expansion, has three levels. Physical expansion, mental expansion, an expansion that is pure awareness. And it is, in your spiritual movement, you are led to the highest expansion, that's pure consciousness. Try to understand that point. First reality, when you want to live somewhere nicely, you want to build your home in a way that it is more good view before it, is not just closed up somewhere like a prison. You need expansion. But you may have all the physical expansion. But when there comes some trouble, you close your door, and all that expansion doesn't help you. In other words, your feelings, they don't exist in the physical plane. You cannot bottle up your good feeling and send to someone. Feelings, thoughts, good wishes, they don't go in the physical space. What is that space? The psychic space. Compared to psychic space, physical space is just a little hole. And the psychic space, when all mental thought waves calm down, that's pure awareness. Pure awareness is being refracted through your mind. And in a refracted way, you find yourself with ego, intellect, senses. Through refracted way, it becomes the source of physical experience, psychological experience, an experience that is much more based on your understanding. We always talk about three lokas. Bhur-loka, physical experience. Eat, drink, be merry, and many other things all come under physical reality. Swara-loka, experience in feeling level. How joyous you are at your heart level. That external possessions cannot really describe you. And that is something profound. And then, if your understanding becomes clear, what will be that experience? That's called Bhur-Bhuva Swa. And the absolute reality transcends all these. Therefore, sannyasins repeat these mantras, Bhu Sanyastam Maya, Bhuva Sanyastam Maya, Swa Sanyastam Maya. The sannyasis, if implying anyone who wants the highest goal, he has to move away from these layers of illusion, Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, and realization, I am that absolute consciousness. So that's what we mean by Nilambujam. Lord Rama's complexion is Nilambujam, blue lotus. Blue lotus is blue aspect, and lotus gives you another sense of joyous heart, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side. Sita is Vivek Buddhi, intuitive knowledge. And he carries bow and arrow, symbol of omnipotence and omniscience. So God is worshipped with these attributes. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nij Man Mukur Sudhari Baranau Raghubar Vimal Jash Jo Dayaku Phalachari. That's how the Doha begins in Ayodhya Kanda. And the same Doha, same verse is there in Hanuman Chalisa. Hanuman Chalisa is a sacred prayer offered to Lord Hanuman, and all over India it has great popularity, to giver of mental strength, remover of obstacles. And that's how Hanuman Chalisa starts, with this particular verse. Shri Guru Charana Saroj Raja Nijaman Mukur Sudhari Baranau Raghubar Vimal Jashu Yodayaku Phalachari. This verse means having applied the dust from the lotus feet of Guru, applied that dust on the mirror of the mind, having cleansed the mirror of the mind by the dust of the lotus feet of Guru, I, Tulsidas, commences to describe, commences to bring out the pure glory of Lord Rama. That which is the giver of four purposes of life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Four purposes have to be remembered. But in this sequence, dharma is ethical value, artha material value, kama vital value, pursuing desires, moksha is spiritual value of life. Spiritual value is the goal, which is liberation. So these purposes, if dharma is not in the beginning, if dharma is not the foundation, if in the foundation level you are not focused on be good, then your doing good will be of very little purpose. Be good. Begin your foundation on ethical value. And then on the basis of dharma, you can have artha, material value. How much wealth you should possess, there is no limit. You can be king, you can be emperor. But you should not be anyone opposing the dharma. The simpler rule for the masses: don't go after too much of money and power. Simple living, simple aspiration, simple living, high thinking. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha, these are the purposes of life. And if purpose is not fulfilled in a proper way, you live in the world like a patient, suffering from bhava vyadhi, disease of the world process. But when purpose is being fulfilled, you are getting rid of the disease. And when you are truly healthy called swasth, when you abide in the swa, the self, when you realize, who am I? You are not the physical body, you are not the mind, you are not the intellect. Learn to understand who you are. That understanding, that revelation, I am that. If that revelation has dawned and you are secure in it, that's called real health. That's the purpose of life. So in order to fulfill the purposes of your life, what's the source? Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj. Go and wipe the dust from the lotus feet of Guru. Keep it safely. Then pluck out your mirror of your mind from your head. Apply the dust on the mirror of the mind. I'm trying to say it is allegorical. Otherwise, we take it very literally. and we touch the feet and there's no dust there. You'll be frustrated. The meaning is, the path that Guru has shown, the path, he himself has traveled that path. So his Charan Raj is on the path that he has shown. If anybody walks, he has to put footprints on that path. So Guru has walked through all your sadhana levels. Under his guidance, whatever you are doing under his Charan Raj, following his footsteps. And if you do that properly, then your mirror of your mind is cleansed. Remember, mirror is very important. Mirror has 3 troubles. Mala, gross impurity on the mirror, dust on the mirror, can't see your face. Next problem, if you remove the dust and you begin to see and you begin to wonder, you never looked like that. You always saw your face through dust. But how wonderful you are. Or your hand loses its power, begins to shake. I'm making a more exaggerated way. The idea is, your mind is like a mirror. If there is impurity, you don't recognize yourself. You are always being interpreted by your mind. But when as you begin to remove, there is a revelation of yourself, you can't believe in it. Then you come to a level of distraction called vikshepa. You have so much energy, but you don't know what exactly to do. Ask the Google, and Google puts out hundreds of possibilities. एक ही साधे सब सधे, सब साधे सब जाए. If you go after one focused project, you will do amazingly good. But if you go on after so many projects, thinking you have so much energy, so much cleverness, then you don't accomplish anything. You stay. You go viral, but that's just a popularity which doesn't last long. So the mala vikshepa. Third obstacle, your own hair begins to come. When you begin to look and your hair comes streaming down your eyes, it's not the mirror's mistake. All that you have to do is move your hair. That's again allegorical way of describing ignorance. Mala, vikshepa and avidya, ignorance. Impurity, distraction and ignorance. These are removed from the mirror of your mind. Then the revelation. You are never an individualized personality. A reflected sun in a jar. Even a child looks at it and puts the finger. I have disturbed this sun. I can shake him. But he doesn't have the idea what that sun is. Seems so cozy in a little jar. But what it is in reality, it is the sun. Behind all reflections, the only reality. So who are you? To ask the question, it is just like you are dealing with a reflected sun. But when your mind becomes free from these three defects, mala, vikshepa, avarana, then you realize, I am, the I am, there is no other I am, absolute sun. All souls, past, present and future, not only souls, all that is created is I am in essentially. And that's religion at its highest. That's called moksha, liberation. And when you realize it, that's the goal of your life. You come to a state from where you cannot go backward, then it is called jivan mukta. And then you are described as you have gained immortality. Because you no longer live constantly looking, pressured by a sense of mortality. जब ते राम व्याहि घर आए, नित नव मंगल मोद बधाए. Remember Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, they are all wedded. Rama with Sita, Lakshmana with Urmila, Bharata with Mandavi, Shatrughna with Shruti-Kirti. And since they came after in Ayodhya with all the marriage party and with their brides, every day in Ayodhya there is festivity, jubilation. Poetically described, Sukrita Megha Bhuvanachari Dasa Bhudhara Bhari, Sukrita Megha Barasahi Sukhabari, imagine all the world. The world is described in 3 planes I have described. They further extend that scriptures into 14 lokas. These details don't have much purpose, only to give you a kind of easy to handle in your mind. In brief, all the world clouds have gathered and torrential rains are coming down from the clouds. What type of rain? Rain of joy. And where are all these falling? All the 14 worlds put together, as if it's a big mountain there, and torrential rain is falling. Let me simplify this point. Happiness in this world is a result of good karma. But good karma doesn't lead you to liberation. It paves the way to liberation. Good karma gives you the possibility. But if you are simply limited to good karma or limited to karma, karma-based happiness, 14 worlds are stretched out to give you that type of happiness. If you put together all the 13 worlds on their happiness, it doesn't compare with this joy of liberation. If you put together all the happiness of the reflected suns, each reflected sun in every jar has a story to tell, and it has its joyous setup. Put all of them together in a mathematical way and make a mound of it. Now the joy that Ayodhya was receiving matches up with all the pleasures and joys of the world put together and transcends it. Riddhi siddhi sampati nadi sudhai, umagi avadam buddhi kahun ai. Ayodhya is so joyous. As if all the psychic powers, major and minor powers, riddhis and siddhis. Riddhis are different types of prosperity. Siddhis are psychic powers and different forms of prosperity. All these have like rivers. They are flowing into Ayodhya, and Ayodhya has become like the ocean. And people in Ayodhya, they have become like jewels shimmering in that big ocean of joy. And those jewels are like sacred, invaluable, beautiful. Kahi na jai kachu nagar vibhuti, janu etaniya biranchi karatuti. The glory of that Ayodhya city. Must remember, in storyline you are being given history, something happened and how the whole city was looked and how the real meaning behind it, that if you are moving towards enlightenment, all the happiness that Brahma's creation can give you, you go beyond that type of happiness, even greater happiness. And Brahma's creation is big creation, 14 lokas. And all that happiness, if you were to see condensed, showering in Ayodhya, humbling down before Ayodhya's glory, that's the idea behind it. Sab vidhi sab purlog sukhari, Ramchanda mukha chandas nihari. All citizens of Ayodhya, they are exceedingly joyous having the opportunity to see the face of Rama. Mudita matu sab sakhi saheli, phalita biloki manoratha beli, Rama rupa gunasila subhau, pramudita hoi dekhi suni rau. Mothers and their friends, they are exceedingly delighted. Their mental vision has grown like a big creeper full of fruits. It's just a poetic detail about their happiness. And King Dasharatha, the father of Rama, constantly enjoying the form of Rama, looks of Rama, his amazing qualities, his gentleness, his divine nature. He enjoys. King Dasharatha is soul in two stages, as Dasharatha and as Rama. As Dasharatha, jiva that has attained profound qualifications to become the source of jnana, four Rama in four. Rama is jnana, knowledge. Lakshmana is dhyana, meditation. Bharata is bhakti, devotion. Shatrughna is karma yoga. Soul that has come to the state of promoting, bringing out these profound movement of integral yoga, then the soul has met Rama. Rama has been born along with all that. That's from profounder level. Otherwise, you have to go to history to travel distance in the past. सबके उर अभिलाषु अस कहीं मनाई महेशु आप अछत युवराज पद राम ही देव नरेशु. All people in Ayodhya, they are expecting Rama to become the heir apparent to the throne. That King Dasharatha, even while he is alive, he must see Rama being the successor. It's called Yuvaraj Pad. Declaring, the king declares his son or gives a big sacred festivity, a ritual. For inheriting the whole kingdom. एक समय सब सहित समाजा, राजसभा रघुराजु बिराजा, सकल सुकृत मूरति नर नाहु, राम सुजस सुनि स्वाति उछाहु. Once upon a time, King Dasharatha, with his whole assembly, where they are in the royal court, and King Dasharatha was shining like the embodiment of virtue. And all those people in that royal court were speaking of the glory of Rama, and king was exceedingly joyous. Nipsarap sab rahi kripa abhilashein, lokap karahi priti rukh rakhein. The glory of King Dasharatha is described. All people, all kings, even guardians of lokas, dear gods, all of them, they consider King Dasharatha greater than all of them. No one is as fortunate as King Dasharatha. A big praise is being given, but it is not really a praise. The simple point is, anyone who attains enlightenment is much bigger than the whole world. Mangal mool Ram sut jasu, jo kachu kahiye thor sab tasu. He who is endowed with a son like Rama, all the praise that you give, all the glory you sing, remains little compared to what Rama is. Rai subhai mukur karalinha, vadan viloki mukuta samakinha. Now, at one time, the king took a mirror, just looked at it, sees his face. And while looking into the mirror, he straightened his cap. And while straightening the cap, he saw the hair becoming grey. Shavan samip bhaye sitakesha, manahu jaratapanu kaha asa upadesha. He saw hairs, grey hairs near the ears, as if the message is coming that he is going to age and he is going to die. And therefore, he should give all his attention. Niprajubaraju Rama kahu devu, jivan janam lahu jikin levu. The message is given to him, O Dasharatha, give kingdom to Rama. and fulfill the goal of your life. I will give you just a subtle mystical meaning behind it. Shravan is ear. When you hear, your hair is vasanas. When you hear spiritual teachings and you begin to assimilate it, then vasanas begin to develop purity. Vasanas were black, demoniac. Now their blackness moves away. Remember, vasana, that was Draupadi's hair, brought about the Mahabharata battle. So when your listening has brought about purification of the vasana, now Rama is going to enshrine your heart. With this, I'm going to conclude for now. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushti vardhanam urvarkum bandhanan mrityor mukshiyama mritat. Om sarve bhavantu sukhina sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti. Om Shri Ramayana.